Hello, guys. Today we'll be talking about how games interactivity can create stories that could only exist in the medium of games. First of all, we need to understand how storytelling can be different between different mediums. The edge that video games have over other mediums is the interactivity. Movies, TV, and books can't have the reader interact with the story except by watching. Taking part of the action invests players way more than an audience at the movies, because we are inherently moving the story forward as we play a game. Interaction feeds our desire to see more of the game and keeps us engaged. Another major aspect of this is how games can put us in the shoes of the character. Other mediums have a very hard time making their audience feel as if they are the character. Usually we're just tagging along with the character during their adventures, while in games, we are the ones making the adventure come together. This inability to have the audience become the character creates a space for games to utilize their advantage for creative storytelling. In terms of story-unique games, there are a bunch. Games like The Last of Us or Telltale's The Walking Dead series are great story-driven games, but they take heavy inspiration from movies and televisions in the way their stories unravel. These games can be ported to other mediums and still maintain their message mostly the same. The games we want to focus on today, though, are ones that would not have such an easy time being in those other mediums. Games like Journey and Shadow of the Colossus are some examples of such stories. For the purposes of this video, I'll use Journey and Shadow of the Colossus as the main examples, but there are also many more games with unique storylines only fit for games, such as Gone Home, Thomas Was Alone, Inside, etc. Let's start with Journey. This game is renowned for its many memorable moments, but all of the interaction in the game happens without any dialogue at all. The player's interaction with the game makes it a unique experience that differs as the player makes different decisions. The story is wholly driven by how you go about your journey and how you interact with other players on the same path. The interaction with fellow players is what makes this such a game exclusive story. People who have played the game remember the mountain scene in different ways, feeling despair if a companion abandoned them during the climb, but also feeling gratefulness for those fellow players who stuck it out through the end with them. If Journey were to transition to another medium, such as film, the powerful feelings would not carry over for two reasons. 1. Not being in control takes away all of the sentiment we develop for our character in the game, and 2. The interactions change depending on who plays along with you. The players you play with become a part of the story, something no other medium could really take into consideration. My other example, Shadow of the Colossus, also shows how some game stories can be exclusive. In Shadow of the Colossus, the main goal is to go about killing 16 giant beings known as, you guessed it, Colossi. The game has very little directive in terms of narrative, but clearly tells you your objective at the beginning of the game is to slay these Colossi. At the end of the game, spoilers, everything you did was for the worst. You unleash an unholy power, get yourself killed, and don't even save the girl, making all of the actions you've taken feel completely pointless and stupid. However, nothing could change this outcome. If you knew beforehand how the game would end, you couldn't just not kill the Colossi. You wouldn't be able to progress at all then. This game strikes our emotions so effectively because by the end of the game, we've built a connection with Wander, the main character, and when we realize we ruined his life, we can't help but feel crappy about it. Movies would have a very tough time making the audience feel like it was their fault for causing the characters despair without being able to make the audience perform all of the characters' acts for them. The interactivity of games can get the point of Shadow of the Colossus' story to the player, and that ability sets the game apart. When it comes down to it, games interactivity can certainly help make video game stories stand out by making players feel like they've become the character, and with many more years to come, other games can push the boundaries of these stories and create more memorable experiences that our favorite medium could only produce.